Okay, so what we have here is a bamboo X1C extruder assembly. I've got filaments jammed inside the extruder. I don't believe the hot end's compromised, so we're going to take the extruder apart and see. There's 3 screws that hold it in. There's one here, and one here that hold it into the printer. Actually, it's right there, there, and there. You've got to be very careful with the wires when you disconnect them to get to that screw, and be very careful with your filament sensor when you disconnect it from the board, because you can break these tabs off the board. Anyway, that being said, first thing you want to do is take loose your hot end. Some people say you don't have to take that loose. I prefer to have it loose where it can come off, because what you're doing is splitting this case. And it's best just to go ahead and get it off. You can see there's filament down there. I can see a little wad of filament in that opening. So I guarantee we've got a piece that's jammed up in there. It was really hot the other day when I was trying to print, and of course my printers are in my shop outside, so they're susceptible to some of the heat. And I didn't have the air conditioner on, and it just got too hot and the filament got too soft and it made a little ball in there. You'll see it here in just a second. We'll get this cleared and put it back together and put it back in and get it printing again. You want to be real careful when you're taking these apart. Sometimes these bearings stay in the case, which was not the case this time. We'll put it right back in there though. And then you also need to loosen the tensioner to be able to take it apart. And that's this screw here on the end. There's not really any adjustment to it. You just have to make sure it's loose and out of there, because you need to be able to get this arm back. And then sometimes you have to give a little pry on this plastic gear. So we're just going to take a small screwdriver and just kind of give it a little pry. Don't force it. I mean, you have to force it a little bit, but if you pry too hard, you're going to snap it. This little gear, that is. And then you're buying a new shaft. Yeah. I don't know if you can see in the camera there clearly, but filament is definitely jammed inside there. So let's go ahead and drop this tensioner wheel out. Now you can kind of see the gray filament in there. So all we're going to do is take this pair of snips there, get right up to the edge. Try not to cut the plastic in your hot end there. And then you're going to want to get you a small pair of needle nose pliers or something and try and grab that piece of filament out of there if you can. Or sometimes it'll just fall out. In this case, it is not going to fall out. But we did get it out, that piece. Now there's another piece in there, the one that we cut. Got to kind of wiggle it out of there. Sometimes you got to cut them again. Yeah, we're going to have to cut this one a second time. So cut a little bit of it off, and then you should be able to get the rest out. Sometimes you just got to poke it around a little bit until you get that piece out of there. And boom. Now we got a clear hole. I don't know if we can see that in the camera or not. The hole is clear. Once I get it clear, I like to take a piece of filament and just run through it and make sure we're clean, that there's no other obstruction. So, no other obstruction. Blow it out. And it's time to put it back together. We're going to go ahead and clean the teeth and the gears too real quick, since we got it apart. Different people like to use different things. Some people like to use toothbrushes. I just use an old wire brush. And I just make sure there's nothing in the teeth of the gear. Like so. Don't forget to spin it. This thing feels really tight on that. So we're going to pull the shaft out. See what the heck's going on there. Just lightly tap it until that's out far enough that you can pull it out. I'm gonna go ahead and push the little bearing out and just clean everything real good. Spray some WD-40 on that little bearing, and we'll put her back together. The bearing was a little dry and black, so this will fix that up pretty good. Just basic maintenance. Think about that stuff when you tear one of these apart though, so that you're good to go when you're going back together with it. Go ahead and clean the edges of this thing off too, because they're kind of dirty. I think what we're actually going to do is put some lithium grease on it. Now that it's kind of cleaned up. And I misspoke. We're going to put PTFE grease on it. Work it in there a little bit. That little pin back in and wipe all the excess off so it's not all over your part. Then we're going to run some filament through this once it's completed. Oh yeah, it's a lot smoother. Whole lot smoother. See some dust and whatnot in there. We're going to get it cleaned out while we're in here. And this is a pretty simple extruder. Your tensioner gear right here, and your drive gear. Drive gear goes in, tensioner gear goes up next to it. Okay, so I forgot to put my tensioner spring back in. Open end goes towards the plastic, and then the long threaded screw goes in to it. I don't ever tighten them until I have it all put back together either. I just get it started and touching. Otherwise, it kind of puts the pin there in an odd position and makes it difficult to get started. And again, you don't have to tighten these super tight. You just snug them down and then just a little pressure, and they'll stay put. The tensioner screw you take all the way down. All right. When I get them together, I like to run a piece of filament through them again, and all I do is just roll the wheel, make sure it grabs and pushes through. All clear. So we can back that out. We're done with that part. Just need to put the nozzle back in. The nozzle just kind of goes in like so. I've had my X1C since they came out, and I'll tell you, I've got about maybe 7,000 hours on it, and I've never had to put a hot end in it. I've never had to put a different nozzle in it. I'm sure it probably needs one, but the prints still come out looking okay. But I print mainly PLA, so just keep that in mind if you're ever thinking you need to change your nozzle. A lot of times you just need to clean it, and there's specific ways that you can clean them, and just keep using them. Okay, we are ready to go back in the printer. Okay, so there's the print head all apart. We're gonna slide this up in here. Make sure it's sitting back all the way. And then we want to reinstall the 3 screws that hold it in. There's several videos out there that show you how to do this. Some people do it differently than I do. This works for me, so this is how I do it. Then we're going to take, there's a little slot here that this goes in. And then once you have it in, then you take the smallest Allen wrench and tighten that screw up right there while you're holding it over, because that screw is actually a set pin in the back that stops the cutter lever from leaning back too far. And it doesn't have to be super tight. You just want to hit it snug and boom. And then this wire comes across first for the sensor, the filament sensor in the head there. Then your thermistor wire. All right. Then your hot end fan wire above it. And then your hot end heater wire. All right. Then you take and put your PTFE tube back in. Plug your cover back in and snap it back on. And just like that, it's back together. So now we're going to fire it up and run us a test print after I run some filament through it to make sure that everything's working as it should. I'll scoot this back so we can get a picture of the whole thing. First things first, we're going to heat up the hot end and confirm that it heats up now that we put everything back together. Well, folks, that's it for this week's video. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe if you did. I upload new videos each week, so come and check out my page. And thanks again for watching.